Oh yeah. Is he running against Ted?
Yeah, I think so.
We can all make our way to the podium.
Yeah.
Sadly, they you got to take off somehow. I will. Hello, ladies. How are you?
All right, anyone who wants to be seen in the coverage is welcome to stand behind the podium. Please feel free. Just not on the steps, yeah, and don't go further than the steps either.
On both sides. Okay, everybody, let me make sure we've got our...
Testing, testing. Can everybody hear okay? Thank you. Welcome, everybody. I'm City Councilman John Courage, representing District 9 for the City of San Antonio. And I want to welcome all of you who are here today, people who are here as partners with this effort, and many of you from the media and other guests who care about what goes on in this city when it comes to public safety. Today, we're here to talk about an event that's going to be taking place on Sunday, the 19th of November. That's four days away. We're going to be talking about the Voluntary Weapons Exchange Program. And we have people here today who have partnered with us to make this take place. For those of you who don't know, on this Sunday, we're asking anyone who has a weapon in their home that they no longer wish to keep in their home, that they don't think they need or want, or don't feel safe having in their home, to take them to the Alamodome parking lot B, from noon to 5 o'clock on Sunday. And at that time, they can turn in their weapon. SAPD will be there to go ahead and take those weapons and secure them. And at the same time, we'll be providing, as an incentive, an HEB gift card for the weapons that people may be turning in. There's a lot more details about that. We've talked about them. There are certain values of gift cards that will be given for certain types of weapons. But we want to encourage anyone who has any kind of weapon in their home that they don't feel they want or need any longer to have an opportunity to safely make sure that that weapon will not go ahead and be involved in harming anybody, committing any crime, or endangering any family. And that's the goal behind this whole process. I think all of us know, because we watch the news every day, that there are too many people who are being injured and killed by gun violence in our community. It's an epidemic across the country, but certainly right here in San Antonio, people have been asking for a while, what can we do about this? Can we do something? And we know the federal government is very limited on what they're doing. And we know the state government is almost doing the opposite of what needs to be done when it comes to gun safety. But we can do something. We can take action, which is what people in this community have been demanding for a long time. So I've brought together some of the people who wanted to be supportive of this, and we're going to go ahead and go over that. First of all, I'd like to go ahead and invite up State Senator Roland Gutierrez, who has been a stalwart for gun safety and taking action in this state and nationally. So, Senator, please come up.
Thank you, Councilman. Thank you so much for the opportunity to be here. And, you know, pardon the pun. I'm sure you've heard this a million times. But thank you for your courage. Thank you for your courage, Councilman. Here's the thing. We've got to be able of kids and himself or herself. Little girl shot 3-year-old little girl, shot her 4-year-old little sister in Houston, Texas. Is longer desired, is longer in some drawer, in some closet, in some corner that we have forgotten about. This is a message now to everybody at home that may not be that passionate about to go inside those places in your home, or maybe your grandchildren or your grandnieces or
that an intimate partner has used a firearm to threaten them. And lastly, I touched on this before, but it's so critical, especially for our community. According to the FBI, Black women are nearly twice as likely as white women to be fatally shot by an intimate partner. And again, the same applies for Hispanic women and people of color. We have increased chances of death by firearm. So again, each of us has a role to play. Councilman, I thank you for your role in this initiative and doing everything you can within your power. I'd like to speak just briefly on what we have done through the CCDV, the Collaborative Commission on Domestic Violence, and through the courts within our power to address this issue. Back in 2019, we formed the CCDV to address a multitude of issues related to domestic violence, but one of those is that we created a firearm transfer program for our courts for the first time ever. So our judges can now, when it's within our discretion, but we can choose to order the surrender of firearms by domestic violence offenders who are already prohibited under the law from possessing firearms and ammunition, and that is still Texas law. And we've been doing that. Last year alone, we received 536 orders to establish compliance. We had 10 firearms that were transferred to law enforcement and 1 license to carry. So lastly, folks, though the road to end gun violence in our community is a long and deeply painful one, I believe that if we work together in partnership across all levels of government and with our community stakeholders, we can address the gaps in our system. We can and will see incremental progress that will eventually be more than just incremental progress. That's why the CCDV is in support of this event as a prime opportunity and example of what happens when stakeholders come together. Thank you for your time. Again, Councilman, thank you all of you for being here. We appreciate you.
Thank you, Judge. You know, both our first 2 speakers have talked about students, and we have some students here today whose voices should be heard. So at this time, I'm going to ask them to step forward, and we're talking about students who demand action from here at this school, which is dedicated to young women. So I don't know who the spokesperson is going to be. Please come on up, introduce yourself, and thank you.
Hello, my name is Neva Smith, and I'm a junior here at the Young Women's Leadership Academy and the group lead of my school's Students Demand Action chapter, which is an organization of young activists committed to ending gun violence. Students Demand Action was founded after the Parkland shooting in 2018 to amplify student voices as a part of our parent organization, Everytown, the largest gun violence prevention organization in America. In order to end gun violence, we must promote gun sense, which is defined as responsible and sensible gun ownership, because this violence affects all of us and occurs in every town in America. Everytown, along with Moms Demand Action and Students Demand Action, all have the same goal of ending gun violence, but Students Demand Action has a distinctive youth perspective. Gen Z has never known a world without gun violence. We are the generation that has grown up doing active shooter drills. We are the generation that has learned that we are not safe in our schools, movie theaters, shopping malls, places of worship, and essentially every public space. Because of our generation's shared experiences, we are uniquely equipped to harness outrage for change and together end gun violence. In San Antonio, we have seen an upward trend in gun violence, with 2022 having the most killings in the last 30 years. In Texas, gun violence rates have also risen. Guns are the leading cause of death among children and teens in Texas. An average of almost 4,000 people die by guns each year in the state. While gun violence can affect anyone, despite race, age, and sex, gun violence has still disproportionately affected Latinx and Black populations. In Texas specifically, the annual average of gun homicide in Latinx and Black communities is over double that of the white average. The Students Demand Action chapter at my school is the only one in San Antonio. I joined this club freshman year because I saw the local, state, and national impacts of gun violence and felt compelled to make my voice heard. In other words, I needed to demand action. Our club prioritizes raising awareness on the expansive issue that is gun violence. And in our meetings and events, we consider how gun sense can be achieved through education and the secure storage of firearms. We emphasize the importance of voting as an integral part of a functioning democracy. That means working to educate young voters on both registration and candidates, which you can find at our Instagram at sda.ywla. I know that I speak on behalf of my leadership team, my Students Demand Action chapter of 40 members, and everyone here today when I say that this voluntary weapons exchange program is an important and necessary step for San Antonio, and it is a part of a much bigger movement to end gun violence. Thank you for your time.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. You know, people often comment about my having courage, but these young women demonstrate their courage for standing up for something so important as this. Thank you very much. You know, it takes a lot to put something like this together. There were several other elected officials who've been very supportive. I just want to name them. State Senator Menendez has been very important in supporting this. And also a couple of state representatives. State Representative Campos and State Representative Josie Garcia. Both been very supportive of this, as well as the fact that we have had several other council members who have been supportive of this. But at this time, I want to go ahead and introduce our greatest partner in making this happen. We were looking to determine how could we make this happen. And what we knew was we needed to have a nonprofit organization that was courageous enough to step up and help us lead this effort. So today we're going to hear from Patricia Castillo from the Peace Initiative, our main partner in this. Patricia.
Thank you, Councilman. To me, it was a no-brainer because of the fact that most women who are murdered in domestic violence, that's what we work on. We work on domestic violence and have done so since 1990 as the Peace Initiative. And most of the women are murdered with firearms. And we know that firearms and domestic violence in one household is a deadly combination. And so it's very important for us to use every opportunity, every platform available to us, and every chance we get to be a part of creating solutions, of creating a response, of standing up to the powers that be that allow this to go on day in and day out. And we're sick of it. We're tired. And so we're going to keep doing this work. We're going to collaborate with as many entities as we possibly can, because when your chances of being murdered because you're in domestic violence happen in your household. 70% of the murders happen in your home, which is supposed to be your sanctuary. And guns are turning those places into killing fields. And we cannot have that. We cannot tolerate that. And our children cannot continue to be watching and witnessing what is happening in their homes with this level of violence. And so we're honored to be a part of this. We will continue to do whatever else we're called to do to respond. And thank you so much for being here today. We need to keep working together, just like we have been. Gracias.
Thank you, Ms. Castillo. Let me just make a couple more comments. I want to just reiterate how the operation is going to work again. It's on Sunday, the 19th, at parking lot B at the Alamodome. People are asked to come with any weapon they may have that they want to get rid of. We ask them to put it in their trunk, make sure that it's unloaded, the safety's on, and when they come up, they're going to drive in. We're not going to say, what's your name? Where did you get the gun? Who are you? All we're going to just ask is, do you have weapons in your trunk? Are they unloaded and safe? And then the vehicles are going to be going through and the police are going to be removing the weapons. And then we're going to give the drivers a card indicating the value of that weapon. And then they will drive forward to the Peace Initiative table. They'll turn in that card and they will get the HEB gift card in exchange representing the value of the weapons that they've turned in. Then they can proceed through the parking area where another one of our partners, Moms Demand Action, will be providing, if any of them have an additional weapon at home, a gun lock that they can also take to make sure any other weapons they keep are safe. So that's the process. That's how it's going to take place on Sunday. I do want to go ahead and just mention that we have raised over $175,000 to go ahead and do this weapons exchange program. We've purchased the gift cards from HEB. They'll be there. I want to thank the organizations and the individuals who really made a strong contribution to help this. First of all, our contributing partners, San Antonio Spurs organization was a partner in contributing. IBC Bank, another partner in contributing. CPS Energy, another partner in contributing. Mayor Ron Nirenberg, Councilwoman Aldrete Gavito from District 7, Councilwoman Cabella Havada from District 6, Councilwoman Sue Carr from District 1. All of them, as members of the council, I'm very proud to say, contributed to this effort. And there were many additional private citizens. So they're what allowed us to go ahead and offer this weapons exchange, and we all should be very appreciative of that. Also, I want to go ahead and make sure we cite all of our event partners. You heard the Peace Initiative. You also heard me mention Moms Demand Action. We also have partners in the Interfaith Coalition, COPS Metro, the San Antonio Metro Health Department, the San Antonio Area Foundation, and of course, SAPD, as well as the Bexar County Sheriff's Office, who provided the gun locks, and the Alamodome staff, and Via Metropolitan that has been helping advertise this event. We couldn't do it without all of these contributing partners. We appreciate their effort. We hope that the success that this brings about will encourage people to have better gun safety, and we hope that we can continue to do this as long as there's a need in our community to make homes safe. Thank you very much, and we're available for any questions you may have. Let me just add some remarks from Congressman Kazar, his office.
Wow, I don't know how to follow that, but I will do my best. Good afternoon, everyone. I am Irene Chavez Galvan, the District Director here in San Antonio, representing the Office of Congressman Greg Casar, District 35. While the Congressman is in D.C. for votes, it is my honor to read a few remarks on his behalf. First of all, thank you to everyone who has played a part in making this the first ever county-wide volunteer weapons exchange happen, and to the Young Women's Leadership Academy students for their important advocacy. When folks across the district ask me what gives me hope during these times, it is our young people fighting for a better future for their families and pushing us to make change. 35,000 people have been killed by gun violence in America alone. Firearms are the #1 cause of death for children in the U.S., but it doesn't have to be this way. My commitment as one of your representatives of the U.S. Congress is to look at how we can save thousands of lives every year and hold accountable the big corporations that drive the gun lobby. I support banning assault weapons, raising the age to purchase a gun, and implementing universal background checks. Each of these is common sense actions that would save lives, and the majority of Americans support them. But until Congress can pass comprehensive gun violence prevention laws, it is on us to protect our communities, our children, and all from the gun violence epidemic. That's why this voluntary weapons exchange and the continued support and advocacy of our community is so very important. Thank you again to Councilmember Courage, his staff, and all those who have been a part of this wonderful effort to bring some of the firearms off of our streets. A future without gun violence is not just possible, it is necessary. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Okay, so we're available for any other questions that you may have. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.